Reflection to video number 1. In the first video, the nature of learning. It focuses on what is learning and how can we define learning. Learning is the continuous process and can change the person and can improve their knowledge, skills, values, attitudes, behavior, and worldviews. And learning is more effective by experience or by interaction of a person with the environment. This is so true, especially in this our subject, which is learning by doing, and learning is a continuous process, and this is what I have observed in video number 1. Video number 2. Characteristics of a learner-centered teaching. Number 1. Engage students in the learning process. This includes by asking questions by the students to the teachers and regular feedback and entertaining their feedback or their opinions to a certain topic. Number 2. Learner-centered teaching includes explicit skills instruction. This includes on how to think, decision-making, evaluate evidences, generate hypotheses, solving problem, teamwork, analyze arguments, and etc. And the teacher also gives clear and direct instructions or structured instructions for learners to develop their skill more faster and efficiently. Number 3. Learner-centered teaching encourages students to reflect on what they are learning and how they are learning it. These can develop by doing the groups or the peer, making groups or self-assessment, and by the use of portfolio. Number 4. Learner-centered teaching motivates students by giving some control over the learning process. This example is the giving the students the control over the learning process, like letting the student decide on what time or date they would pass their assignments, or letting and create the classroom agreements, like they will create their own agreements and will vote it by the majority, and that is one example of giving some control over the learning process. Number 5. Learning-centered teaching encourages collaboration, which means knowledge can be found anywhere and student and teacher are learning with each other, and collaboration means they work together with their classmates and by the guidance of their teacher, and students can learn the responsibility to one another and by the use of teamwork. 21st century education, the student-centered learning. What is the student-centered learning? And the student mostly will do all the work in class. This includes that students will be most likely to do the work or the task in almost all of the time. So the best way to observe this is by project-based, which is the solution to be more student-centered. So we're gonna use the project-based learning. So teacher-centered is bad for this. So means teacher-centered, that teacher will be almost presenting all the topic and doing all the tasks for most of the time. So that is not applicable here in this project-based learning or the student-centered learning, which means student-centered learning is more focused on the student learning and doing the tasks almost all the time. So aspects of the student-centered class. So this includes the student communication. They will be the one communicating to their fellow classmates, and peer teaching. So every student has their own knowledge. One might be advanced, while one might be left behind. So this includes peer teaching. They can teach their classmates and help one another. Defending opinions. They can defend their opinions by thinking and discussing to one another. And researching facts. This includes their groups, so they can research facts whether it's true or not true. So in these groups, by making groups, they can assign like what is or who are their leaders, who will be doing this task and this task, and so on. So they learn by doing it. So learning by doing. this is the student-centered learning, and mostly observed in the project-based learning, project-based, making projects. So teachers' only role here is just to guide on how to do, but not doing the work by the teacher. The students will do almost all of the work. So video number 4 is about the 21st century education, or what is the 21st century education. According to the video, I have seen so far that there is too much population on the planet Earth. That's why many problem emerges and many solutions will be observed. And teachers, like example is the teachers will require to use the technology for almost 46%, and the students are using the technology almost 94%. That is a large amount of percentage to use a technology, unlike the traditional way of teaching or traditional classroom. And that is the one example of the 21st century education, or what kind of 21st century education are we in now. So in this century, Google is a tool to answer almost every kind of answer, and the students are using this Google to answer every question if they don't have the kind of resources that they want. So more jobs were created after 2002, and finding solutions to a problem that haven't emerged yet. Yes, this is present now, that problems haven't emerged yet, but we are making solutions, like the impact of the asteroids that haven't occurred yet, but we are making some improvements to counter that problem if it arises in the future. And the new generations of teachers and new way of teaching. This, we can observe new generation of teachers and their new ways of teaching in this new generation, the 21st century, making the classroom more dynamic, which means more dynamic. It includes many styles, especially in this online class, making use of technology, making use of almost every kind of resources, unlike the traditional classroom, which is only suitable in the traditional classroom without using technology, a minimal amount of technology. So in the 21st century, education is more about 21st century education more about the following. As I have seen in this video, that what is the 21st century education. Number 1, creativity, cultural awareness, problem solving, innovation, civic engagement, communication, productivity, collaboration, accountability, exploration, in innovation, responsibility, and leadership. So as we can observe here, there are many aspects, or what is the 21st century education is about. So more on adjustment, especially here in innovation, which means we need to improve and discover more to solve more problems that can arise in the future. Video number 5 is about problem-based learning, or PBL, where students work with classmates to solve complex and authentic problems. So this is example of the problem solving, which we are going to solve the problem. So problem solving that helps develop content knowledge, as well as the problem solving, reasoning, communication, and self-assessment skills, according to Stanford University. So this includes more on problem solving, or finding the answer according to the given knowledge. So learning by doing. So learning must be relevant to the learner's objectives in order to be effective and efficient. So, and we have also I have also observed the experiential learning, philosophy and methodology in which educators purposefully engage with students. So philosophy and methodology, this includes the discussion of how to add, how to divide, how to multiply, how to subtract, and especially how to do algebra. This is an example of philosophy and methodology. So by making this example of experiential learning, we can use the PBL or the problem-based learning. Almost any subject can be applied by the PBL or the problem-based learning. So this includes the field of education, engineering, dentist, and more fields of jobs. So in PBL, there is a self-directive learning which can go and soar to the self-study or goal-oriented, which means they can do it on their own. And as they grow up, they can achieve their goal because of this PBL, the problem-based learning.